Hello students, in the last class we have completed one of the important chapter from your organic section, that is amines, and along with that we have the complete explanation regarding with the diazonium salts and some of the chemical reactions as well as physical properties of both amines as well as diazonium salts we have seen. And if you go for the further syllabus in which there is one important and very easy and very interesting chapter, that is biomolecule, which is kept for your syllabus, and this chapter is basically related with all the types of the molecules which are present in living as well as non-living organisms, generally in case of living organisms. So this chapter is very helpful for your CET as well as NEET purpose, because it consists of most of the general information regarding to the different kinds of molecules which are present in nature. And this chapter is also related to the biological aspects, and even in case of biology you have studied it. So let's start the first chapter, that is biomolecules. Right. So the biomolecules, if we divide the word biomolecules, you will get two words. One is bio and second one is molecules. Generally, the molecules which are present in case of living system are generally called as biomolecules. So here if you split this word biomolecules, you will get two words. One is bio and the second word is molecules. So hence the word bio represents the living as well as non-living organisms that you have already learned in case of biology, and the molecules are nothing but the components which are made up of, so made in case of living system or in case of non-living. But here in this chapter particularly we are concentrating on the type of the molecules which are present in the living system. So therefore, living systems are made up of some of the various complex molecules. These are not simpler molecules, so these are called as complex molecule, which means there is an arrangement of atoms or arrangement of molecules in a series or in the form of the different kind of arrangement. So those are generally called as complex molecule. These are not simple, so these are complex molecule, which means that there might be a high chain of molecules like that, right? So further we'll see what is the exact meaning of complex molecule. Now just remember, the living system is made up of generally the various complex molecules. These are generally called as biomolecules, like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, lipids and enzymes, etc. Right? So there are different biomolecules. These are like a chemical substances, so which are made up of complex molecules, and these are in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids and lipids. Similarly enzymes, so vitamins. So these are very important molecules for the sustained life or for the physiological aspects in case of living organisms. Similarly, all the type of chemical reactions in case of body are considered in this case with the help of, which means they are carried forward with the help of these molecules, and these molecules are generally called as biomolecules, right? And proteins and carbohydrates are essential constituent of food, right? So not all the carbohydrate, not all the different kinds of biomolecules which are present in the body. So some kind of biomolecules must be taken through diet, which means whatever the food you take, so generally from the plants or the animals, right? So some will eat the non-veg things, or some will eat the veg things like plants, herbs, right? So different type of food. So we will get some of the molecules, so which are more important or more essential for the growth and development of the living organisms, or the sustained so body functioning. So those are generally important, and they must be taken through the dietary things like food. So generally the food consists of most of the biomolecules. So and generally here the proteins and carbohydrates are the essential means so most of the proteins and carbohydrates will not produce within the body. They must be taken outside, from outside, and they must be given in a regular and in a micro level, not in the extent level. So they just need in case of small quantities. So therefore they are very essential constituent of food. They can be present initially in case of food, so after eating it will transfer to the body, and that is very helpful for the growth and development of any of the living organisms. So therefore biomolecules are completely explained on the cases of the living system, which are made up of various complex molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, lipids, enzymes, etc. And also we have seen the proteins and carbohydrates are essential constituent of food, right? And vitamins and mineral salts play important role in the functioning of the organisms, right? So not only proteins and carbohydrates, so each of the biomolecule has its own specific role in the growth and development of the living organism. Similarly, so in case of sustained body functioning, in case of sustained body functioning. So all the biomolecules will have its respective role in case of perfect growth and development of the living organism. So therefore vitamins and mineral salts play a vital role or important role in the functioning of the organisms. So further, if you go with the carbohydrates, the detailed or the complete explanation regarding to the carbohydrates is given in this case. So carbohydrates are primarily produced by plants. So initially, the carbohydrates are the chief components in case of plants, and they form a very large group of naturally occurring organic compounds. So generally, the carbohydrates which are present in plants are having the very large group of naturally occurring organic compounds, right? So these carbohydrates are made up of organic compounds which is abundant in case of, which means it is present in the high level or high concentration in case of plants. So examples like a cane sugar, glucose and starch, right? So these are the three important carbohydrates. So these are general carbohydrates which you can observe. So in case of plants or in case of dietary source, so that is cane sugar, glucose and starch, right? So if you give the general formula for the carbohydrates, right? So how carbohydrates are recognized means, so the molecules which are having the general formula or which fits in the general formula, that is CxH2O times, CxH2O times, right? So here, so more than carbohydrates, so these are generally called as hydrated carbons, right? So we can also call it as hydrated carbons, more than carbohydrates. So generally these are because it consists of water molecule. The better suitable word for the carbohydrate is these are hydrated carbon molecules. So general formula for the carbohydrates is given as CxH2O terms, right? So which means any molecule which has ability to fit in this formula is generally called as carbohydrate. Like glucose. So glucose is having the molecular formula of C6H12O6, which fits in the general formula. Here you can observe. So this can be written as C6, that is H2O6 times. You can convert this into the C6H12O6 can be converted into C6H2O6 times, which means they are having the general, which is suitable in the form of general formula. Therefore these molecules are called as carbohydrate. So but one of the most exceptional things in case of carbohydrates is, so some molecules like acetic acid, which is having the molecular formula of CH3COOH, even it fits into the general formula, they are not considered as the carbohydrate because the functions and the role of those molecules are different. They behave different when compared to that of the biomolecules. Therefore, one of the important example like acetic acid, that is CH3COOH, even it fits in the general formula of CxH2O times, so it is not considered under the carbohydrates. So just remember, so generally we can say that the molecules which are satisfy the molecular formula of a CxH2O terms are considered as the carbohydrates. But in case of exceptional cases like acetic acid, even that is CH3COOH, even it fits into the formula, that is general formula, they are not generally considered as the carbohydrates. So if you want to go for the exact definition of carbohydrates, what do you mean by carbohydrates? So generally carbohydrates may be defined as optically active polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones, or the compounds which produces such units on hydrolysis. Which means if you take any molecule, so which is having an optical activity, so that is having the capacity to rotate the plane of a plane polarized light in the clockwise direction or in case of anti-clockwise direction, that we have seen in case of haloalkanes as well as haloarenes. So generally in case of haloalkanes and haloarenes, we have explained what is the exact meaning of optical activity. Along with that, we have seen the two different optical activities like dextrorotatory, if the light rotates in case of clockwise direction, and if it rotates in anti-clockwise direction, we'll call it as levorotatory, right? So which means every molecule has at least one rotation, that is it may be in the clockwise direction, we'll call it as dextro molecules, or it may be in the anti-clockwise direction, we'll generally call it as a levorotatory. So therefore, so along with that, we have also studied the racemization or the racemic mixture. So here generally the molecules which are having the optical activity, and these are polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketonic groups, which consist of polyhydroxy aldehyde group as well as ketonic group, or the compounds after splitting or after dividing the larger molecule, after dividing, which gives the polyhydroxy aldehydic or ketonic groups, are generally considered as the carbohydrates, right? So this can be asked for 1 mark. Define carbohydrates. right? So generally, carbohydrates may be defined as the optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones, or the compounds which produces such units, which means the aldehydic as well as ketonic groups which are produced by the higher molecular weight substances, and these units on the hydrolysis. Hydrolysis means breaking with the water molecule. For example, if I take any of the higher molecular substance like sucrose, if I put water molecule, if I put some amount of water for that, if I dissolve in water, so what happens due to hydrolysis, it will divide into so glucose as well as fructose, which means two molecules are splitted from only one molecule, and those two molecules which are obtained in the form of product, so those consist of aldehyde group, or they might consist of ketonic group, and thus molecules are those kind of molecules are generally called as carbohydrates. So they can ask for 1 mark. Be careful with the question. Define carbohydrates. Carbohydrates may be defined as optically active polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketone. Polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones, or the compounds which produces such units, which means it may also consist of aldehydic or ketonic group, or it may also give, or it may also produce the same aldehydic and ketonic group on the hydrolysis, on the process of hydrolysis, that is addition of water molecule. So therefore those molecules are generally considered as the carbohydrates. And generally there is another name for the carbohydrates, that is called as the saccharides. So these are generally termed as saccharides. So in Greek, the saccharum means a sugar. The molecules which made up of sugar are generally called as saccharum in case of Greek. So the same word here it utilized for the another name for the carbohydrates, that is carbohydrates are also generally called as saccharides, right? So this is the brief information regarding to the general information of biomolecules along with the general information of carbohydrates. Okay, further if you go with the classification of carbohydrates, that is the extended part of the carbohydrates. So in case of a classification, when you classify the carbohydrates, so these are mainly divided into three groups. The carbohydrates are generally divided into three groups. So those are called as monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides, right? So which means the carbohydrates are generally called as saccharides, and these saccharides are further classified or divided into three groups. Mainly it is monosaccharide, oligosaccharide and polysaccharide, right? So here if you divide the word monosaccharide, you will get two words. One is mono and second one is saccharide. So therefore a carbohydrates that cannot hydrolyze further, which means it cannot be divided further to give a simpler unit of polyhydroxyaldehydes and ketones, are generally called as a monosaccharide. It is the simplest unit of carbohydrate. So even if you hydrolyze, which means even if you put that in water, or even if you add water for that, so there will be no any further splitting or dividing of those molecules. In case of aldehydic and ketonic group, they will not give any kind of aldehydic or ketonic group. So these are called as monosaccharides. For example, if you take glucose, that is C6H12O6, the same molecular formula even for fructose also, and even ribose. So even those will not divide and give any aldehydic or ketonic group further. So therefore these are generally considered as a monosaccharide molecule, right? So there is a first important classification, that is monosaccharide. If you divide the word monosaccharide, you will get two words. One is mono, second one is saccharide. Therefore a carbohydrates that cannot be hydrolyzed further it cannot be divided into the simplest unit. So therefore it won't act as its own, it acts as the simplest unit of carbohydrate, and these molecules are generally called as monosaccharides. For example, if you take glucose, fructose and ribose, etc., there are so many examples in case of monosaccharide. So that is glucose, fructose, ribose are the most important in case of monosaccharide. And second classification in case of carbohydrates is oligosaccharides. Generally carbohydrates that can yield 2 to 10, right? So if it has ability to yield 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis, right? So during hydrolysis what happens, it will yield minimum 2, so maximum 10 monosaccharide units are generally called as oligosaccharides, right? So they are further classified into disaccharide, trisaccharide. If it gives 2 units, we will call it as disaccharide. If it gives 3 units on hydrolysis, which means it will split into 3 different units, those are called as a trisaccharide. If it give 4, tetra, penta, like this, right? So further we'll see that one, right? So oligosaccharides Please remember the definition. The carbohydrates that can yield minimum to maximum 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis are generally called as oligosaccharides. They are further classified into, based on the number of units it's produced during hydrolysis. If they produce 2 units, they are generally called as disaccharides. If they produce 3 units, they are generally called as trisaccharides. If they produce 4 to 5 units, we'll call it as a tetrasaccharide, that is pentasaccharide, like this, right? For example, if you take a sucrose, it is also example for disaccharide, and similarly maltose, right? So which is also considered as the disaccharide, because on splitting or on hydrolysis it has ability to give 2 monosaccharide units. So therefore, so oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates which can yield so 2 to 10 monosaccharide units, right? So which has ability to divide or split into 2 to 10 monosaccharide units, and these are considered as the oligosaccharides. Based on the number of saccharide units formed after splitting or after hydrolysis, they are further classified into disaccharides for 2, trisaccharides for 3, tetrasaccharides for 4 different or 4 same kind of monosaccharides which are formed with the help of oligosaccharide, right? So therefore, remember this definition. Oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates. So I am repeating it twice or thrice because it's very important. Oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates which have the ability to yield 2 to 10 monosaccharide units on hydrolysis, and these are very important. So in case of disaccharides, trisaccharide, tetrasaccharides, which means they are considered or they are classified on the basis of number of monosaccharide units which are formed on the process of hydrolysis. And the third important classification in case of the carbohydrates, that is polysaccharides, right? So the carbohydrates which can use the large number of monosaccharides, the carbohydrate which has ability to give large number of monosaccharide units on the process of hydrolysis are generally called as polysaccharides, like starch, cellulose, glycogen, gum. So it can consist of more than 10 monosaccharide units. So it has ability to split into 10 different or 10 same kind of monosaccharides. So therefore, generally we'll call it as a large number of monosaccharide units. Therefore, these are considered as polysaccharide. Always remember, carbohydrates which are having the capacity or ability to produce more than 10 or large number of monosaccharide units on the process of hydrolysis are generally called as polysaccharides. For example, starch, cellulose, glycogen, gum are generally called as polysaccharide. And there is one important statement, that is polysaccharides which are not sweet in taste are generally called as non-sugars, right? So there is another name. Generally we will call it as saccharides, the carbohydrates, but the polysaccharides. So generally, whenever there is an increase in the number of the monosaccharide units, the sweetness goes on decreases. The sweetness goes on decreases. Therefore, the higher monosaccharide units, which means the polysaccharides generally which are having there is no any kind of a regular sweetness for sweetness in the taste. So these are also called as non-sugars. Right, so they may ask this even for 1 mark. Define non-sugars. So non-sugars are nothing but the polysaccharides which are having not a sweet in taste. The polysaccharides which are not in a sweet taste are generally called with another name, that is non-sugar, right? So this is the main important classification in case of carbohydrates. So first one is monosaccharides, the carbohydrates which cannot be further divided or which will not give further units, simpler units of aldehydic and ketonic groups are considered as monosaccharides, like glucose and fructose. Oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates that can yield minimum 2 to maximum 10 monosaccharide units, and polysaccharides are the carbohydrates which has ability to produce a large number of monosaccharide units on the hydrolysis, like starch, cellulose and glycogen. So these are considered as a polysaccharide. So generally, if there is an increase in the number of monosaccharide units in case of polysaccharide, so there will be a loss of sweetness, which means there is no sweetness in the taste, hence they are also called as non-sugars, right? And there is one important statement or a definition. What are reducing sugars, or define reducing sugars, right? So reducing sugars, that is all carbohydrates which reduces the filling solutions and tolerance reagent are considered as the reducing sugar. So this can be asked for 1 mark. So be careful with this question here. All carbohydrates which has ability to reduce the filling solutions and tolerance reagent are considered as the reducing sugars, right? And if you further go for the monosaccharides, there is an explanation for the monosaccharides. If monosaccharides contains an aldehydic group, is called as aldose, and if the monosaccharide consists of the ketonic group, and this is called as ketose. Observe here, if it consists of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldose. If it consists of keto group, we will call it as ketose, which means monosaccharides are named on the basis of the type of the group which is present in that. If the monosaccharide is completely made up of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldose. If the monosaccharide unit which is made up of ketonic group, we will call it as ketose. For example, if it consists of the 3 carbon atoms, in general we will call it as triose. But if it consists of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldotriose. The prefix is used. If it is consists of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldotriose. If it consists of ketonic group, we will call it as ketotriose. So therefore, if it consists of 4 carbon atom, if the saccharide molecules consist of 4 carbon atom, so we will call it as tetrose. And if it consists along with that aldehyde group, we will call it as aldotetrose. So here aldo is used as a prefix and keto is used as a prefix in case of ketonic group. So therefore here I have explained the monosaccharides. So in case of monosaccharides, if they consist of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldose, and if they consist of the ketonic group, these are called as ketose, right? So this is the naming of monosaccharides. If it consists of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldose. If it consists of ketonic group, or if it is made up of ketonic group, we will call it as ketose. So in general, if it consists of 3 atoms, that is carbon atoms, in general we will call it as triose. And if it consists aldehyde group, the prefix aldo is used. If it consists of ketonic group, we will use keto as a prefix. Therefore aldotriose, ketotriose. 4 carbon atoms, that is tetrose, aldotetrose and ketotetrose. Similarly, if it consists of 5, you will call it as pentose, that is aldopentose, ketopentose. If it consists of 6 carbon atoms, generally it is termed as hexose, and if it consists of aldehyde group along with the hexose, we will call it as aldohexose. And if it consists of ketonic group, we will call it as ketohexose, right? So in this way, the nomenclature of monosaccharides can be done, right? So we'll stop here. Once we'll see what we have learned today. The first important thing what we have learned today is the general information regarding to the biomolecules and why they are important, and along with that we have seen different types of biomolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acid, lipids, as well as enzymes. And further there was some complete information regarding with the carbohydrates, and which are having the general formula of a CxH2O and there are some molecules even which satisfy this general formula are not considered under the carbohydrates, and we have seen the perfect definition for the carbohydrates. So these may be defined as optically active polyhydroxy aldehydic or ketonic group, or the compounds which produces such units on hydrolysis. And we also seen one of the important another name for the carbohydrates, that is saccharides. So saccharides are generally taken from the Greek word that is saccharum, which means sugar. Along with that, we have seen further the classification of carbohydrates, which means generally the classification of carbohydrates are divided into 3 groups. One is monosaccharide, which cannot be further hydrolyzed, which are the simplest units of saccharide molecules like glucose and fructose. And further we have seen oligosaccharides, which can give 2 to 10 units of monosaccharides, generally sucrose and maltose. And polysaccharides are the molecules, that is carbohydrates, which have ability to produce large number of monosaccharide units on hydrolysis, and these are called as polysaccharides. And higher polysaccharides, which are not having any kind of sweetness, are generally called as non-sugars. And they may ask one more question for reducing sugars. All carbohydrates which has capacity to reduce the Fehling solutions and tolerance reagents are generally called as reducing sugars. Along with that, we have seen the nomenclature of monosaccharides. If it consists of aldehyde group, we will call it as aldose, and if it consists of ketonic group, we will call it as ketose. So general terms, that is triose, can be converted. If it consists of aldehyde group, that is aldotriose. If it consists of ketonic group, it is called as ketotriose. In the same way, even for the tetrose, pentose and hexose, they are named as aldotetrose, aldopentose and aldohexose. If it consists of ketonic group, they are termed as ketotetrose, ketopentose and ketoheterose, right? So that's all from the today's classes. We'll continue the next class. Thanks for joining.